All right, guys. Welcome to the Golf Podcast Live with Raf and Mike. This is episode 98, and we have this U.S. Open podcast brought to you by ECS, New Beverages, Castillo Roofing in Florida, and Lagmaster Sports. And with us today is golf's top 100 instructor, inventor of the Lagmaster Full Swing Golf Trainer, Mr. Mike Dickson. Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? Happy U.S.
Welcome
Open
back.
week.
It certainly is. I'm glad to have you back to participate in it.
Yeah, for sure. Always happy to talk golf.
This is a crazy, crazy golf course. Obviously, we all remember Payne Stewart winning by, just 1 under par over Phil Mickelson in 1999. That's what kind of pops up into my head. So that lets me know and reminds me that par is a good score at Pinehurst. Over the 3 last U.S. Opens at Pinehurst, there was, so many competitors playing for par, Payne Stewart being one, but there's a couple that went under, Martin Keimer and Ricky Fowler out in 2014, a 1 under, if you remember, Eric Compton, also went under, Michael Campbell in 2005, even par 280. So really interesting. So bogey-free rounds are rare.
Yeah, I think, again, you got to have a good short game there. I think I did some videos today actually just trying to keep it on the ground. They don't have the ability to really put it in the air with how hard those greens are. Again, like I watched it at Congressional, everybody wants to hit those spinners, but you're not doing that on tabletops. So
No. I saw somebody drop a ball on one of the greens today, and it literally almost rolled off the front. So it's going to be fun to watch. And we can never forget Payne Stewart's win there. Remember, he chopped the sleeves off his waterproof jacket, and so he had a little more breathing room, and the rest is history. It was a hell of a match. So looking forward to seeing this week unfold.
This reminds me that we've got a special contest. Not only is Mike Dickson on here to talk about the golf swing, the U.S. Open, but we were here to talk about Lagmaster and this contest, a $500 contest this time, once again, for this major. And what you will get is a private one-on-one session with Mike, top 100 instructor, or if you can't see him, he will do a online video analysis virtually. So that's great. And to top it off, we're going to get the Lagmaster teaching tool out to you. So make sure you follow Mike on all social media platforms. Follow Lagmaster. Take a look at the Golf Podcast Live and follow all our feeds. Look, this brings me to one really important thing. There's a lot of players at this U.S. Open. Do you have any favorites? Can you tell us why? Either Mike could answer.
I'll let Mike go first.
Okay. Well, the Phil Mickelson story would be sensational. Should he somehow find lightning in a bottle and be able to close out his Grand Slam? I don't know what the odds are on that, but that's got to be low. Scheffler's the obvious pick. I think everyone out there is thinking he's got a great chance, but I have a feeling Xander Schauffele may grind through this year and get it done. But, call me a fool on Sunday if I'm wrong, but I'll roll with that. Mr. Dickson, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, again, you got you're going to have a short game. So I would go, again, you can't really keep up Bryson. I think being that he's hitting the ball so far, and he can hit it so high. All these guys hit it high though. But it's going to come down to who can make putt, like those greens. If you think about like slope, if the greens are all on 13 and the slope is like 5%, 6%, like that's rolling like a 18 on the step.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. I'd go with an aim pointer personally.
Yeah.
The top 6 people at Augusta on the leaderboard were all users of a version of Aimpoint, if not Aimpoint. But yeah, no, I like Zonder. You know, like he's a Callaway guy. I'm a Callaway guy.
There you go.
But I think again, you're gonna have to take your medicine. There's no way that you're going around there and playing clean golf. I think you got to be smart, and again, it's a challenge. Like, I remember first time I played it, I was on first hole. I hit a 4-iron like right on the stick, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be good. And the caddy's like, yeah, wait a second. It was like right on line, it hits, and then it starts like come back, and it like rolled all the way off the front of the green. He's like, yep, welcome to Pinehurst. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a long day. But
God. That's
yeah,
deflating.
they know everything golf, man. That place is amazing, and for those of you who have not been there, you got to make a trip. It's a special spot.
How many courses? They got 10 of them now, or there's a lot.
Yeah, and with the Cradle, which is a ton of fun, the par 3 course, I think they did open their 10th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Well, you know, looking at McIlroy, I'd like to put him up there as well as someone to watch for. Obviously, the #1 player in the world, Scotty Scheffler, no denying that he's a favorite out here, and he's definitely has the touch, not only off the tee, not only with the approach shots, but the short game, and his putters come around. And if his putter is hot, no one's going to be able to touch him. You know, I'm not going out on a limb. Everybody knows he won the last 5 out of 7 recently. But to your point, Bryson hits it so high. And if we remember at Wingfoot, he was able to get it out of that rough. So all these natural areas and grass growth they have around this golf course is really going to play into somebody who could get it out of that stuff. And if there's anybody who's going to do it with his new equipment change and how straight he's hitting it right now, Bryson DeChambeau is somebody to look for. Really cool statistics, guys, this week. The player that hits it at the highest apex. And Mike, you were talking about how the greens are rolling. They have these turtleback greens, and they got the kind of a sheen on it. It's rolling about 16 to 17 on the stimp meter. You know, he's got the highest trajectory. And so people don't realize how much you need to stop the ball or land it into the right places. Players are talking about hitting it into the right part of the grain for it to catch. Well, I mean, you really have to have your A game to be able to shape the ball into these greens and hold them. And you don't want to be long. You don't want to be long on any of these greens because that looks like where all the trouble is. So I think it's fascinating. The U.S. Opens should be the hardest test in golf, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. Again, like we hosted them 2011 at Congressional, and the week prior to the Open, every player that came through and played said it was the hardest course they've ever played. And then, unfortunately, they decided to mow the rough the Wednesday before it started. So, you know, Rory had an amazing week. Again, Jason Day finished second in that Open, and he shot the same score Ernie Els shot when he won it in '97. But that golf course, I'm telling you, when the USGA comes in, they make it treacherous. It's no joke. Like I think you're going to get a lot of people who just get good bounces. I think it's really going to come like where you just got to be in the right place, unfortunately. And those greens don't really bode well for that.
No, that's right. Short side, it's going to be dead. It's basically like landing it on an upside down bowl. These guys are going to be challenged, and all depends. The weather could be a factor this week. Have you guys seen a weather report? I haven't looked that up yet.
It looks pretty dry for now. They might get a little bit of rain, but that'll help them out, as they go through. There's a reason it's a test. You're looking at over 10,000 golfers who've actually tried to qualify for this event, which is an amazing statistic. This year it was just over 10,000. And would you believe the last time it was over 10,000 qualifiers was once again at Pinehurst? That was the last time we had that many qualifiers. Is that, it's a historic place. It's a beautiful location. And if there's any stats that you need to know, and just make sure you go to the US Open website or go to USGA. It's fascinating to read about all of that. Bleakley, you mentioned Phil Mickelson. I'm going to talk about him because it's serendipitous that he is actually turning, I believe, 53 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
This may be the last time we see him this competitive. And for him to top off his career with a career Grand Slam, I'm pulling for him. I grew up watching the guy. I've seen him in person play so many times. A fascinating person, even a more aggressive and crazy golfer. His short game bodes well for any golf course. And I know, let's forget about the ageism. I'd love to see him up there along with Tiger because Tiger feels pretty fit right now. And I haven't seen him this confident since he won the Masters.
I don't want to be too excited about Tiger because obviously if he makes the cut to start, that's going to be amazing. And if he does any better, it'll be phenomenal. And we all love to see it. Tiger and Phil being in the story on the weekend would be fantastic. And Phil is just crazy enough to maybe, like I said earlier, lightning in a bottle. If he can find his fairways, he's got the short game to deal with these greens. He's got the experience, to weather it. But it's hard to predict. It's how many people are in the field, and picking the winner is always a tall task, no matter how versed or how well versed you are with statistics.
Yeah, and I would even say with Tiger too, his benefit is how flat the golf course is.
Yes,
just not having to deal with the hills, and playing in Florida, you're used to flat golf. So
yeah. And it'll be easy on his ankles and joints, ligaments, you name it. We know how hard Augusta is to walk for him. So that bodes well. And you can never rule Tiger out. It's I still believe we got some exciting golf in him. So is it this week? We would love to see it.
Yeah, some interesting pairings as well. Ricky Fowler playing with our Canadian Adam Hadwin and Phil Mickelson. So that's a great pairing. So many wonderful pairings, and I've got a dark horse pick, guys. I want you to, as I'm talking right now, I want you to think about your dark horse pick. Somebody who's no stranger to major championship golf, but I feel that he's been overlooked. And you guys talked about the natural areas, those native natural areas with these waste bunker style bunkers that kind of lean over the left and right side of many of these holes. I'm looking at Cam Smith. He's got a hot putter. He's talking this week that it's very similar to what he grew up with in Australia, the way these greens are rolling. In fact, he said these are the best greens that he's ever played in his life. That's how true they're rolling and how fast they're rolling. And most people are complaining about the greens, where here he is talking about how he loves them. And another portion of a online video that I saw was, I don't know if you guys seen Jason Wagner out there, Wagyu, going out there and trying to hit shots. It's all the rage right now. Everybody's talking about it. He was out there with Cam Smith, and they were hitting some shots. It was fantastic to see.
I'll go with another Australian, Minwoo Lee. And just because of what you said, Cam Smith stated, he's used to playing courses like this, and that would be my dark horse pick for this week. And it wouldn't be that surprising if he did win.
The nice thing about U.S. Opens is those fairways run really, really firm.
Mm-hmm.
So again, so you don't have to be a long hitter. I would even maybe go like Ricky. Again, I feel like he's in a better place with his golf swing. Again, I think it was really great to see him play great last year. It kind of stunk that he wasn't able to pull that out. Again, like just like you got to root for him, right? He's just a good person, and
I've always been a fan. I'd love to see him pull off the U.S. Open, right? And remember when he won the PGA Championship, or pardon me, the Players Championship. He was taking a lot of heat the week before for being an overrated player, and he stepped up and won. So maybe we need to troll him on Instagram a little bit and fire him up.
I'll let you do that.
No, we don't troll the players. They probably get enough of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so many great and hot players. It's hard to pick. Tiger Woods is playing with Matthew Fitzpatrick and Will Zalatoris at 7:29. Another fantastic pairing. Corey Connors is playing with Stefan Jaeger. Lucas Glover, Sam Burns, Cameron Smith. Great pairing right there. Really interesting. Tony Finau, Ludwig Oberg. All of these got names. Even Justin Rose having a great season. It's really hard to pick. Is it going to be somebody with a tremendous amount of experience? Is it going to be a young gun coming out there and proving himself? It's just a matter of time. But let's not forget one of the favorite pairings. My favorite pairing that I'll have my eye on tomorrow is Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, and Brooks Koepka.
And Brooks, you never know with him. He has a way of elevating. I've said it over and over again. He's got that sixth gear for majors and a little bit of attitude on his shoulders. And backed by the live story, it would not be surprising if we see Brooks take this thing down. And again, it would be a great story. But that could be his sixth major. Is that right? He's got 5 in the bag right now.
Yeah.
So it's the beauty about golf. You never know. For like Peter Malnati, could pull this off. You never know who catches it this week and runs away with it. So maybe it's Adrian Moronk, your fellow countryman, Raf.
Yeah, I think he's going to need a training aid. He might need the
he needs the lag master and the rock shot.
For a guy who's 6'7", you're talking about Adrian Moronk. I mean, he's so upright. He almost swings like a Ferris wheel with his short irons, and it's really he only lags off and goes over his shoulder a little bit flatter on the takeaway with his longer clubs. But he hits it a mile, gets behind the ball. He launches it pretty high. He doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the short game. I'm not going to say he's going to do very well, but it's nice to see him out there.
So
speaking of the lag master. Speaking of the Lagmaster training aid, how is that doing? Are you finding it very beneficial for your students? I've used it. I think it's fantastic. It sets my students at the top of their swing so well. It gets them not only into that position, that 90-degree position at the top of their swing, but it also it touches their shoulder and helps their follow through come back and have a more elliptical motion and back and through instead of going back flat. And most amateurs finish very upright as they follow through, pointing at their target, gets them off balance. Yeah, trying to steer it. And this really puts you on plane.
Yeah, I think like the thing that I love about the product, I think I'm kind of biased, but it provides feedback, right? Like I think that's the one thing that most people, I don't know why my camera's plugging in, but why people struggle so much trying to make changes is because they don't know when they make it correctly. They don't know when they get to the top. They don't know how to start back down. And that's the whole goal of the Lagmaster. Just trying to give you some feedback on where you got to go. I always love when I put it on somebody and they're like, I'm supposed to do that? Like, that's how you swing down? And I'm like, yeah,
right.
It's how the best players in the world swing down. Again, because golf is so counter like intuitive. It's so, I tell people, I'm like, logic's out the window when it comes to golf. Everything's opposite, right? Like you turn your hands right to make the ball go left. You turn your hands left, you make it go right. You swing right, curves left. Swing left, it curves right. Get down to make it go up. Like, again, there's the reason why I have a job, because it's not it's not checkers. It doesn't make sense. But But yeah, again, like there's so many great things out there. I've always been a training aid guy. To think that I have something out there that is capable of helping people, whether it's length of swing or their sequence, or again, like improving their contact, There's so many things I've seen that benefit other players. Again, like it helped me honestly with my wedge game because I was coming out of my posture more than I actually realized. So it really helped me to stay down to posture, like the whole Tom Watson secret. Right shoulder replaces the left shoulder. But yeah, no, it's been fun. Again, now we got 4 technically. We had 2, but we have 3 new items coming out. We had the Rock Shot that was in Golf Magazine in March, and we got the lag bag and the pop-up plane that are coming out shortly. So pretty exciting times. Again, kind of crazy. Nice. Not even just a year ago we had 1 item, and now I have 5, and again, all trying to help people swing the club better and play better golf.
How do you conceptualize a new product, Mike? Like when you get an idea, do you get to pen and paper and draw out a draft, or do you consult with someone with 3D printing? Or
yeah, so it definitely is. It's kind of crazy. I would tell you, Apple, is it Note or like the PowerPoint for Apple?
Yeah.
Usually is kind of
Keynote.
Keynote. I go in and start kind of doodling on that. And I got an amazing team for a manufacturer, and they go through and they basically create the rendering. And so like the Rock Shot, we basically got 3D printing of it before we ended up going with the version that we have now. Same thing with Lagmaster, it was all 3D printed. But yeah, it's a lot longer process than I ever would have thought. And anytime I see something now, anytime I go to a store, people are like, "Oh, I can't believe this costs so much," and I'm like, "You don't know what goes into that. Like that just doesn't like pop out of a machine, right? Like, like Willy Wonka or something. You got to buy the mold, you got to pay the people to do it. Like it's pretty in depth. So I've learned a lot in the last year, but it is pretty amazing. Again, we've been sending product to all over the world, and like again, like our winner from the Masters was over in Europe. So that was really, really cool. And again, spreading my hands around the world. Kind of like what we're saying is like, having a top 100 teacher in your bag. So it's, again, hopefully we keep growing and spreading the word. And I appreciate all your guys' support and in doing that.
And we appreciate you, teaming up with us. So that's great. Look forward to seeing the new products.
Yeah. Well, if you're just joining us right now, we're with golf's top 100 instructor and inventor of the Lagmaster Full Swing Golf Trainer, Mike Dickson. We want to thank all our sponsors, ECS, Nude Beverages, Castillo Roofing in Florida. As always, make sure you go see Mike Kelly out there and Lagmaster Sports. Get your US picks in. Make sure you go to social media on X, Facebook, and IG. Follow Mike Dickson or go to Lagmaster, the Golf Podcast Live. Make sure you enter the contest. All you got to do is click twice, share, and you're in. And you too might have a private lesson or online analysis with Mike Dickson. For Michael Bleakley and Mike Dickson, I'm Raphael Calamat. You've been listening to the Golf Podcast Live. Guys, enjoy the US Open.